हम्म, Mm. Mm. Oh, hello, friends. Mhm. Maybe I should put it like this. Mhm. 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 Mm. 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 Mhm. 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 Wow. Mhm. 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 Hola, Lili. Mm, ¿cómo amaneciste? Sí. Despertamos como a las 6 y oramos y meditamos. Wow. Y después fuimos a caminar. ¿A las 6 de la mañana? Sí. No, a las 7. 7:30. Wow. Vamos a hacer plan rápido. Bueno, ya desayunamos, pero vamos a comer un snack. Mm. Y se va a empezar a trabajar a las 9. Wow. Gracias. Entonces, cuando empiece a trabajar, hay que no haber ruido. Sí, sí, porque estoy hablando por teléfono. Mm. Wow. Sí, se va a estar hablando por el teléfono atendiendo a los clientes. Mm. Por los clientes. Wow. Mm. ¿Sí? Wow, amanecí bien. Qué alegría. Sí, sí, sí. Sí, gracias. Ah, no, bueno. Mm. Okay, I'm going to take Naya out for a walk outside. Let's see, where is it? Mhm. Mhm.
Somebody's coming. I'll hang up. Hang up. Hang up. Somebody hang up. Mm. Swipe up something on the hang up button.
Ella es muy tierna.
¿Verdad? Ujú.
Pero tienes que poner, ahorita para pasar.
Sí, gracias. Bye. Ah, pues apagar la luz cuando entre y cerrar la puerta, o yo puedo cerrarla. Desde aquí la puedo cerrar. Mm, Esa. ¿Tú viste? Creo que sí. No. Okay. Hello, friends. Mhm. Mhm. Let's see. Uh, mm, so I should announce the pooja. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Mm, Bueno, tengo. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Back to, well, I gotta put this like this. Mm-hmm. Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shuklas.
ॐ मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलपुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरे यथ पवित्रे करणम् ॐ पवित्रा पवित्रो वा सर्वावधान्यतोऽपि वा यस्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं सबाह्याभ्यन्तरः शुचिः ॐ पुण्डरीकाक्ष पुनातो ॐ पुण्डरीकाक्ष पुनातो ॐ पुण्डरीकाक्ष पुनातो त्र्याचमनम् ॐ केशवाय नमः ॐ नारायणाय नमः ॐ माधवाय नमः हस्त प्रक्षाल्य ऋषिकेशाय नमः आसन तुद्दे ॐ पृथिवी तया वृता लोका देवी त्वं विष्णाढता त्वं च धारय मां देवी पवित्रं कुरु चासनं पवित्री धारणम् ॐ पवित्रेस्तो वैष्णव्यो सवेतुर्वा प्रसव उत्पुनाम्यक्षत्रेण पवित्रेण सोऽर्जस्य रश्मिभे तदीयते पवित्रपते पवित्रपो तदीयजतकामः पुनेत च केयम् शिखाबन्धनम् ॐ मानस्तोके तनये मानायुकिमानो गोकुमानो अथवे घोरेरिका मानो वीरानुद्रभामिनो वधेरियाभिगमन्तः क्षादामितवाहवामहे चिद्रोपणी महामाये दीप्यते यतमन्यते तिष्ठते विधिकावन्धे तेजो वृद्धिं कुरुस्व मे स्वस्ति तिलधारणम् ॐ सुदक्षामक्षेव्याम्भोय सद्गुं सुवत्स मुखेन सुतत्कारणाभ्याम्भोयाशम्मा पदप्राणायामं कुर्यो ॐ आपोह्योऽग्रस्वमितं ब्रह्मभूरिभुवत्सरम् अतरश्च अप्तान्तिपाठं पठेयुः ॐ द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथ्वी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्पृथिवे देवाः शान्ति ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः धाम शान्तिरेवेजतो यथा समीहते ततो न अभयं कुरुषं नः कुरु परजाभ्यो भयं नः पातुभिः विश्वानि देव सवितुर्दुरिता निपारातु वा जतभद्रान्तन्न आसु वा गणानान्तवा गणपतिगुं हवामहे प्रियाणान्तवा प्रियपतिगुं हवामहे निधीनान्तवा निधिपतिगुं हवामहे वसो मम जानि गर्भधम त्वमजासि गर्भधम अम्बे अम्बिके अम्बालिके नमानयति कश्चन सातति असवकाः सुभद्रिका काम्बेलवासिनीम् ॐ सुशान्तिर्भवतु ॐ श्रीमन्महागणाधिपतये नमः ॐ लक्ष्मीनारायणाभ्यां नमः ॐ उमामहेश्वराभ्यां नमः ॐ वाणीरणिगर्भाभ्यां नमः ॐ शचीपुरन्दराभ्यां नमः ॐ मातृपितृचरणकमलेभ्यो नमः ॐ इष्टदेवताभ्यो नमः ॐ कुलदेवताभ्यो नमः ॐ ग्रामदेवताभ्यो नमः ॐ स्थां देवताभ्यो नमः ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः ॐ सर्वेभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमः ॐ सिद्धिबुद्धिसहिताय श्रीमन्महागणाधिपतये नमः इति नमस्कृत्यं वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय शौर्यकोटितमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा विनायकं गुरुं भानुं ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वर सरस्वतीं प्रणम्यादौ सर्वकार्यार्थसिद्धये त्रिवेणीं माधवं सोमं भरद्वाजं च वासुकीं वन्दे अक्षयवटं श्वेतं प्रयागं तीर्थनायकं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। देव्यतुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे त्रिभुवनतारिणि तरल तरंगे शंकर मौलि विहारिण विमले मम मतिराता तव पद कमले भागीरथे सुखदायनि मातः तव जल महिमा निगवे ख्यातम् नाम जाने तव महिमानम् पाहि कृपामयि मम ज्ञानम् भागीरथी गंगादेव्यै नमः। हस्ते गन्धाक्षत पुष्पाणि धृत्वा संकल्पं वाक्यानि स्मरेयुः। ओम श्री विष्णुर्विष्णुर्विष्णु श्रीमद्भगवतो महापुरुषस्य विष्णोराज्ञया प्रवर्तमानस्य अद्य श्री ब्राह्मणो निद्रिये पराधे एकपञ्चाशत्तमे वर्षे प्रथममासे प्रथमपक्षे प्रथम दिवसे अन्यास्तृतीये तृतीये मुहूर्ते रथन्तरादिद्वात्रिंशत्कल्पानां मध्ये अष्टमे श्रीश्वेतवाराः कल्पे स्वायम्भुवादिमन्वन्तराणां मध्ये सप्तमे वैवस्वतमन्वन्तरे त्रेता त्रेता द्वापरकलिसंज्ञकानां चतुर्णां युगानां मध्ये वर्तमाने अष्टाविंशतितमे कलियुगे कलिप्रथमपादे भारतवर्षे भरतखण्डे जम्बूद्वीपे आर्यावर्तैकदेशान्तर्गते पुण्यविष्णु प्रयागराज क्षेत्रे त्रिवेणी संगम तटस्य समीपे प्रवादितस्य संवत्सराणां मध्ये कालयुक्त नामधेय संवत्सरे दक्षिणायने नभो हेमन्त ऋतौ मासानां मासोत्तमे मासे पौष मासे शुभे शुक्लपक्षे अद्य चतुर्दशीयां महापुण्यशुभतिथौ शुक्रवासरान्वितायां शुभनक्षत्रे शुभयोगे शुभकरणे शुभराशे स्थिते श्रीसूर्ये शुभराशे स्थिते श्रीचन्द्रे कर्कराशे स्थिते श्रीभगवद्देवगुरौ शेषेषु ग्रहेषु यथा यथा राशिस्थानस्थितेषु सत्सु एवं ग्रह गण गुण विशेषण विशिष्टायां वेलायां महापुण्यसुवितिथौ आत्मानावरणपूर्वकं दैवीय शक्ति जागरण द्वारा अमेरिका देशे जातस्य वर्तमान समये लेकवर्त फ्लोरिडा अमेरिका स्थाने निवासिन्याः यथा रासौ यथा नक्षत्रे यथा लग्ने उत्पन्नस्य जायरो मोरेणो नामकस्य यजमानस्य श्री भगवत् देवता कृपाप्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थं श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण देव कृपाप्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थं क्षेमा धैर्य वीर्य विजय अभय आयुष्य आरोग्य आनंद ऐश्वर्यादि अभिवृद्ध्यर्थं धर्मार्थ काम मोक्षाख्य चतुर्विध फल पुण्य सिद्ध्यर्थं जन्म नक्षत्र जन्म राशि वशात् नाम नक्षत्र नाम राशि वशात् गोचर वेद अष्टक वर्गज रूपज देहज अंडज बलाबल भावेषु ये ग्रहा अरिष्टस्थानं गताः तेषां ग्रहाणां शुभ एकादश स्थाने शुभ फल प्राप्त्यर्थं कृतकार्यकृत्यादिदोष प्रकोप शमनार्थं समस्त सन्मंगलावा प्राप्त्यर्थं च समस्त विघ्न बाधा दूरीकरणार्थं कृतकार्यकृत्यादिदोष प्रकोप शमनार्थं समस्त सन्मंगलावा प्राप्त्यर्थं च मम यजमानस्य यायरो मोरेणो परिवारस्य सुख समृद्धि शांति सुरक्षा स्वास्थ्य लाभ प्राप्त्यर्थं श्री सूर्यनारायण देवता कृपा प्रसाद सिद्ध्यर्थं श्री नवग्रह देवतानुकूलता सिद्ध्यर्थं तथा च व्यापार व नौकरी क्षेत्रे उत्तरोत्तर उन्नति लाभ प्राप्त्यर्थं शीघ्र बहुधन धान्य लाभ प्राप्त्यर्थं अद्य दिवसे सायं वेलायां संकटनाशन गणेश स्तोत्र पाठं तथा च आदित्यहृदयस्तोत्रपाठं तथा च श्वेतोक्तपाठं तथा च हनुमान चालीसा पाठं गर्गगोत्रोत्पन्नये श्रीदेवं शुक्लब्राह्मणे संकल्पम् अहं करिष्ये तस्मिन् संकल्पिते कर्मणि सुसिद्धिरस्तु शुभं भवतु शुभानि सम्भवन्तु ॐ जज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदयति दैवं तदुषुतत्य तथैवयति दूरङ्गमञ्ज्योतिखाञ्ज्योतिरेकं तन्न मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु सङ्कल्पसिद्धिरस्तु यजमानकल्याणमस्तु ब्राह्मणवचनं परिपूर्णमस्तु ॐ गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितम् कपित्थजम्बो फलचारुभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम् या श्रेत्वयं सुकृतिनां भवनेतु लक्ष्मीम् पापात्मनां कृतदयामृतेतु बुद्धिम् श्रद्धासुतां कुलजनप्रभवस्य लज्जा तां त्वं नतास्म परिपालय देवि विश्वम् नमो नमस्ते स्फटिकप्रभाय सुश्वेतहाराय सुमङ्गलाय सुपातहस्ताय शासनाय जलाधिनाथाय नमो नमस्ते ब्रह्मा मुरारेश्च पुरान्तकारे पानौषधे भवमितुतोऽवधस्य गुरुश्च शुक्रासनिराहुकेतवा सर्वे ग्रहा शान्तिकरा भवन्तु मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयुक्तमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीभगवत् आवाहि सर्वे देवी देवताभ्यो नमः ध्याय ध्यानं समर्पयामि ध्यानान्ते यच्चत्पुष्पाणिं समर्पयामि ॐ धूरस्य धूर्वधूर्वन्तं धूर्वतं जोष्मान् धूर्वतितं धूर्वजं भयं धूर्वामः देवानाम शिवमिदमगुं सस्मितमं पप्रितमञ्जुष्टतमं देवहोतमं मा धूपं दर्शयामि धूपान्ते प्रत्यक्षदीपं दर्शयामि ॐ चन्द्रमा मनसो जातचक्षुः सूर्यो वजायत श्रोत्राद् वायुश्च प्राणश्च मुखात् दग्निरजायत धूपं दीपं दर्शयामि धूपदीपान्ते आचमनीयं जलं समर्पयामि नैवेद्यम् ॐ नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षगुं शेषणोद्योः क्षामावनतातात् पद्भ्यां भो मृद्धिशाः श्रोत्रा तथा लोकान् आकल्पयन् नैवेद्यं निवेदयामि नैवेद्यान्ते आचमनीयं जलं समर्पयामि उत्सापोष्णाते आचमनीयं जलं समर्पयामि ॐ प्राणाय स्वाहा ॐ व्यानाय स्वाहा ॐ शमानाय स्वाहा ॐ उदानाय स्वाहा मध्ये मध्ये आचमनीयं जलं समर्पयामि ॐ जाः फलनिर्जा फला पुष्पाजाश्च पुष्पणे बृहस्पते प्रसूतास्तानो मुञ्चन्तो गुंहता ऋतुफलं समर्पयामि ॐ प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं गौरीपुत्रं विनायकं भक्तावासस्मरे नित्यं मायुष्कामार्थसिद्धये प्रथमं वक्रतुण्डं च एकदन्तं द्वितीयकं तृतीयं कृष्णपिङ्गाक्षं गजवक्त्रं चतुर्थकं लम्बोदरं पञ्चमं च षष्ठं विकटमेव च सप्तमं विघ्नराजेन्द्रं धूम्रवर्णं तथाचकं नवमं बालचन्द्रं च दशमं तो विनायकम् एकादशं गणपतिं द्वादशं तो गजाननं द्वादशैतानि नामानि ज्ञात्वते द्वादशैतानि नामानि त्रिसन्ध्यं या पठेन्नरा न चाविघ्नभयं तस्य सर्वसिद्धेकरं परं विद्यार्थि लभते विद्यां धनार्थि लभते धनं पुत्रार्थि लभते पुत्रान् मोक्षार्थि लभते गतिम् जपेत् गणपते स्तोत्रम् षडविर्मासै फलं लभेत् संवत्सरेण सिद्धिं च लभते नात्र संशया अष्टभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यो च लिखित्वा या समर्पयेत् तस्य विद्या भवेत् सर्वा गणेशस्य प्रसादता गणेशस्य प्रसादता ॐ नमः सवित्रे जगदेकचक्षुते जगत्प्रसूते स्थितिनाशहेतवे त्रयीमयाया त्रिगुणात्मधारिणे विरञ्चि नारायण शङ्करात्मने ॐ ततो युद्ध परिश्रान्तम् समरे चिन्तया स्थितम् रावणं चाग्रतो दृष्ट्वा युद्धाय समुपस्थितम् दैवतैश्च समागम्य द्रष्टुमव्यागतोरणम् उपगम्य ब्रवीत् राम मगर्तो भगवस्तदा राम राम महाबाहो शृणु मह्यं सनातनम् येन सर्वान्नरिन्वस्य समरे विजयिष्यते अद्वित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनम् जयावहं जपं नित्यं मक्षयं परमं शिवम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनम् चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् मायुरवर्धनमुत्तमम् रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतम् पूजयस्व विभक्त्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं सर्वदेवात्मको हेता तेजस्वी रश्मिभावना एतदेवासुरगणान् लोकान् पाति गवस्तिभिः एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्धा प्रजापति महेन्द्रो धनदाकालो यमः सोमो पान्पते पितरो वशभाषाढ्या अश्विनो मरुतो मनु वायुर्वह्नि प्रजा प्राणा ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकर आदित्या सविता सूर्य खगः पूषायवस्तिमान् सुवर्णसारथो भानुर् हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर हरिरश्वतहस्राञ्चित् सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोर्मथनासम्भो त्वष्टामार्कण्डको सुमान् हिरण्यगर्भातिथिर तप्नोऽस्करो रवि अग्निगर्भोदिते पुत्र शङ्खातिथिरनाशना व्योमनाथस्तमो भेदे ऋग्यजोषामपारगा घनवृष्टिरपामित्रो विद्रवेते प्लवङ्गमा आतपे मण्डले मृत्यो पिङ्गलः सर्वतापना कविर्विश्वो महातेज रक्तः सर्वभवोद्भव नक्षत्रग्रहतारणा मदिपो विश्वभावना तेजसामपि तेजस्वी द्वादशात्मा नमोऽस्तु ते नमः पूर्वाय गिरये पश्चिमायाद्रहे नमः ज्योतिर्गणानां पतये दिनाधिपतये नमः जयाय जय भद्राय हरयश्वाय नमो नमः नमो नमः सहस्रान्तो आदित्याय नमो नमः नमो उग्राय वीराय तारंगाय नमो नमः नमः पद्मप्रबोधाय प्रचण्डाय नमोऽस्तुते ब्रह्मेशानाच्युतेताय सूरायादित्यवर्चते भास्वते सर्वभक्षाय रौद्राय वपुषे नमः तमोघ्नाय हिमग्नाय तत्रोघ्नायामितात्मने कृतघ्नघ्नाय देवाय ज्योतिषाम्पतये नमः तप्तचामीकराभाय हरये विश्वकर्मणे नाशयत्ते तव नमस्तमो विघ्नाय रुचये लोकसाक्षिणे नाशयत्ते वैभूतम् त्वमेव सृजते प्रभु पायस्ते तपस्वेतम् वर्चस्ते तगभस्तिभिः पायस्ते तपस्वेतम् वर्चस्ते तगभस्तिभिः एष सुप्तेषु जागर्ते भूतेषु परिनिष्ठिता एष चैवाग्निहोत्रम् च फलं चैवाग्निहोत्रिणाम् देवाच क्रतवश्चैव क्रतूनां फलमेव च यानि कृत्यानि लोकेषु सर्वेषु परमप्रभो येन मापस्तु गृच्छेषु कान्तारेषु भवेषु च कीर्तयन् पुरुषा कश्चित् नावसीदति राघव पूजयस्वैनमेकाग्रो देवदेवं जगत्पतिम् एतत्त्रिगुणितं जप्त्वा युद्धेषु विजयिष्यसि अस्मिन् क्षणे महाबाहो रावणं तं जयिष्यसि एवमुक्त्वा ततो गतो जगामता यथागतम् एतच्छ्रुत्वा महातेज नष्टशोको भवत्तदा धारयामास सुप्रीतो राघवा प्रयतात्मवान् आदित्यं प्रेक्ष्य जप्त्वेदं परं हर्षमवाप्तवान् विराचम्य शुचिर्भूत्वा धनुरादाय वीर्यवान् रावणं प्रेक्ष्य हर्षात्मा जयार्थं समुपागमत् सर्वयत्नेन महता वृतस्तस्य वधे भवत् अथ रविरवदन्निरीक्ष्य रामम् मुदितमनः परमं प्रहस्यमाणम् निधिचरपति सञ्चयम् विदित्वा सुरगणमध्ये गतो वचस्वरेति ॐ अरुणकमलसन्ता तद्रजा पुञ्जवर्णाम् करकमलधृतेष्टा वेतयुगमाम्बुजा च मणिमुकुटविचित्रा लङ्कृता कल्पजालै सकलभुवनमाता सन्ततं श्रीयै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ हिरण्यवर्णां हरिणीं सुवर्णरजतश्रयां चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो मावः तां मावः जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं विन्देयं गामत्वं पुरतानहम् अश्वपूर्वां रथमध्यां हस्तिनादप्रमोदिनीं श्रियं देवीमुपहवये श्रीर्मा देवी जुषताम् कां सोऽस्मितां हिरण्यप्राकारा माद्रां ज्वलन्तीं तृप्तां तर्पयन्तीं पद्मे स्थितां पद्मवर्णां तामिहोपहवये श्रियम् चन्द्रां प्रभासां यशसां ज्वलन्तीं श्रियं लोके देवजुष्टामुदारां तां पद्मिनीं शरणं प्रपद्ये अलक्ष्मीर्मे नश्यतां त्वं वृणे आदित्यवर्णे तपसोऽधिजातो वनस्पतिस्तव वृक्षोऽथ बिल्वः तस्य फलानि तपसानुदन्तो मायान्तरायश्च बाह्या लक्ष्मी उपैतु मां देवसखा कीर्तेश्च मणिना सह प्रादुर्भूतोऽस्मि राष्ट्रेऽस्मिन् कीर्तिवृद्धिं ददातु मे क्षुप्तिपाशामलां ज्येष्ठामलक्ष्मीं नाशयाम्यहम् अभूतिमसमृद्धिं च सर्वाणि ऋणुत मे गृहात् गन्धद्वारां दुराधर्षां नित्यपुष्टां करीषणीम् ईश्वरीं सर्वभूतानां तामिहोपावये श्रियम् मनसा काममागोतिं वाचः सत्यमसीमहि पशूनां रूपमन्यस्य मैत्रीत्रयताम्यशा कर्दमेन प्रजा भूता मयि सम्भव कर्दमा श्रियं वासय मे कुले मातरं पद्ममालिनीम् आपः सृजन्तु सिग्धानि चिक्ले तव समे गृहे निचदेवीं मातरं श्रियं वासय मे कुले आर्द्रां पुष्करणीं पुष्टिं पिङ्गलां पद्ममालिनीं चन्द्रां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो मावः आर्द्रां व्याकरणीं यष्टिं सुवर्णां हेममालिनीं सूर्यां हिरण्मयीं लक्ष्मीं जातवेदो मावः तां मावः जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं प्रभूतं गावो दास्योऽस्मान् विन्देयं पुरतानहम् यदुचे प्रयतो भूत्वा जयाराज्यमन्वहम् शोक्तं पञ्चदशरजं चाद्रीकामः सततं जपेत् पद्मानने विपद्मपत्रे पद्मप्रिये पद्मदलायताक्षि विश्वप्रिये विष्णुमनोनुकूले तत्पात् पद्मं महिषन्निधस्व पद्मानने पद्मऊरु पद्माक्षि पद्मसम्भवे तन्मे भजसि पद्माक्षी येन सौख्यं लभाम्यहम् अश्वदायी गोदायी धनदायी महाधने धनं मे जुषतां देवीं सर्वकामाश्च देहि मे पुत्र पौत्र धनं धान्यं हस्तत्वाश्वतरीरथम् प्रजानां भवसि माता आयुष्मन्तं करोतु मे धनमग्निर्धनं वायुर्धनं सूर्यो धनं वतो धनमिन्द्रो बृहस्पतिर्वरुणो धनमश्विना वैनतेय सोमं पिब सोमं पिबत मित्रः सोमं धनस्य सोमिनो मह्यं ददातु सोमिना न क्रोधो न च मात्सर्यं न लोभो नासु भामति भवन्ति कृतपुण्यानां भक्त्या प्रीतोक्तजापिनाम् सरति जनिलये सरोजहस्ते धवलतरां शुकगन्धमाल्यशोभे भगवति हरिवल्लभे मनोज्ञे त्रिभुवनबोधिकरीं श्रीजमह्यम् विष्णुपत्नीं क्षमां देवीं माधवी माधवप्रियाम् लक्ष्मीं प्रियसखीं भूमिं नमाम्यच्युतवल्लभाम् महालक्ष्मी च विद्महे विष्णुपत्नी च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात् आनन्दः गर्भमात्रेदशिक्लीते विस्तृता ऋतया श्रियपुत्राश्च देवीर्देवतामता ऋणरोगादिदारिद्र्या पापाचित्तप्रवृत्त्यवः भयशोकमनस्तापा नश्यन्तु मम सर्वदा श्रीवरजस्वमायुष्वमारोग्यमाविधाक्षोभमानं महीयते धनं धान्यं पशुं बहुकीर्तिलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः हरिः ओम् ॐ मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठम् वातात्मजं वानरयोध्यमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीगुरुचरण सरोज रज निजमन मुकुर सुधार वरणो रघुवर विमल जसो जोदायक फल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरहु पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देव मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धाम अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगे कुमति निवार तुमति के संगे कंचन बरन बिराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराज कांधे मूज जनेऊ ताज शंकर सुमन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रतिया राम लखन सीता मन बतिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत हितम भाई सात बदन तुम्हरो जत गावे अस कहीं श्रीपति कंठ लगावे शनिकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद सारद सहित यहीशा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जाते कभी को विध कही सके कहाँ ते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना राम मिलाय राजपद दीना, तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना। लंकेश्वर भय तब जग जाना, जुगता त्रयोजन पर भानु। हेलियहुं ताहि मधुर फल जानु, प्रभो मुद्रिका मेरे मुख माहि। जलधि नागि गए अचरज नाहि, तोरे गम काज जगत के जेते। सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे। होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैतारे, तब सुख लाए तुम्हारी सरना। तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज तमारो आपै। तीनों लोक हांकते कांपै, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे। महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नाशै रोग हरे सब पीरा। जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा, संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे। मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा। तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे। सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा। है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे। असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता। अश्वर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पाशा। सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारे भजन राम जी को पावे। जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई। जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चेतन धरहि। हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि, संकट कटय मिटय सब पीरा। जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई। कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई। छूटहि बंदे महा सुख होई, जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा। होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीशा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा, पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। लाल देह लाली लसे, अरुधर लाल लंगोर। वज्र देह दानव दलन, जय 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 कपितोर। सियाबल रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। ओम आदौ राम तपोवनादिगमनम्, हत्वा मृगं काञ्चनम्। वैदेही हरणं जटायुमरणं, सुग्रीवतं भाषणम्। बाले निर्दलनं समुद्रतरणं, लङ्कापुरी दाहनम्। पश्चात् रावण कुंभकर्ण हननम्, एतत् श्रीरामायणम्। हे रामा, हे रामा पुरुषोत्तमे नरहरे, रामं रमं रामतम्। शिव उवाच, देवी त्वं भक्तसुलभे सर्वकार्यविधायिनी, कलविकारसिद्ध्यर्थं मुपायं ब्रूहि यत्तदा। देव्योवाच, शृणु देवि प्रवक्ष्यामि, कलौ सर्वे च साधनं मया त्रयोर्नयत्नात्ममुक्ति प्रकाश्यते। ओम अस्य श्री दुर्गा सप्तलोके स्तोत्रमन्त्रस्य नारायण ऋते अनुष्टुप् छन्दः श्री महाकाली महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वत्यो देवता ते दुर्गा प्रीत्यर्थं सप्तश्लोकी दुर्गा पाठे विनियोगः। ओम ज्ञानिनामपि चेतांसि देवी भगवती च बलादागस्य मोहाय महामाया प्रयच्छते। दुर्गे स्मृता हरति वेदिमसे सयन्तो तस्ते स्मृता मतिमतीव शुभां ददाति। दारिद्र्य दुःख भयहारिणिका तदन्या सर्वोपकारकरणाय सदा सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। शरणागत दीनार्थ परित्राण प्रायणे सर्वस्यार्ति हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्ति समन्विते भयभ्रात्रायिनो देवी दुर्गे देवी नमोस्तुते। रोगान् शेषान् पहन्ति तुष्टा हृष्टा तु कामान् सकलान् वेशान् त्वामाश्रितानां न विपन्नराणां त्वामाश्रितायाश्रयतां प्रयन्ति। ॐ सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्याखिलेश्वरी एवमेव त्वया कार्यमस्मद्वैरिविनाशनम्। सर्वस्व देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेते सर्वशक्ति नमोस्तुते। भयभ्रायिनो देवी दुर्गे देवी नमोस्तुते। रोगान् शेषान् पहन्ति तुष्टा रुष्टा तु कामान् सकलान् वेष्टान् त्वामाश्रितानां न विपन्नराणां त्वामाश्रिताया धृतां प्रयन्ति। सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्याखिलेश्वरी एवमेव त्वया कार्यमस्मद्वैरिविनाशनम्। सौराष्ट्र सोमनाथं च श्रीशैले मल्लिकार्जुनम् उज्जैन्यं महाकालं मम कालममलेश्वरम् परल्यं वैद्यनाथं च डाकिन्यं भीमशङ्करं त्वयते वन्दे तु रामेशं नागेशं दारुकावने वाराणस्यं तु विश्वेशं त्र्यम्बकं गौतमी तटे हिमालये तु केदारं कुस्मीशं च शिवालये एतानि ज्योतिर्लिङ्गानि सायं प्रातः पठिनरा सप्त जन्म कृतं पापं स्मरणेन विनश्यति। ओम रौं जो ओम जों सः भूर्भुवः स्वः त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। भूर्भुवस्वरं जों सः ह्रौं ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। देव्य सुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे त्रिभुवनतारिणि तरल तरंगे शंकर मौलि विहारिण विमले मम मतिराता तव पद कमले। जय जय श्री राधारमण जय जय नवल किशोर जय गोपी चित चोर प्रभु जय जय माखन चोर सच्चिदानंद रूपाय वेशोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्री कृष्णाय वयं नुमः। जय जय मातु सरस्वती तुम्हें नमामि ज्ञान बुद्धि बढ़ती रहे देना मातु आशीष। प्रेम से बोलिए गंगा मैया की जय यमुना मैया की जय सरस्वती मैया की जय तीर्थराज प्रयाग की जय हनुमान जी महाराज की जय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव शंभो। ब्लेसिंग मंत्र श्रीवरचस्वमायुष्वमारोग्यमाभिधाक्षोभमानं महीयते धनं धान्यं पशुं बहुकीर्तिलाभं शतसं वत्सरं दीर्घमायुः मंत्रार्था सफला सन्तु पूर्णा सन्तु मनोरथा शत्रुणां बुद्धिनाशस्त मित्राणामुदयस्तव जब लगी धरा में सुरसरी आकर्षणा करती रहे तब लगी जगत जजमान की सुख संपदा बढ़ती रहे सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिना सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु माँ कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेयुः ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Thank you. Oh, so that was the second puja of the year. Hmm. Yes, I'm walking home with Naya. Let me show you Naya. Mm, mhm. Let's see. Hmm. Now, let's see if I can this higher. Mm, How's that? Mm, Maybe like this. Mm, mm, mm. So I've been I've been chatting on Facebook, and part of the chat I submitted to Gemini AI. The chat has to do with the mind, the soul, God, consciousness, the brain, neuroscience, near death experiences. Well, it hasn't gotten to that. They're not talking about that yet. What time is it? Hmm. Oh, I think it's almost, yes, 9:33. Elizabeth, no, what's her name? Stephanie is working. She starts working at 9, so I've got to be quiet when I go inside. Hey. Mm-hmm. Hey. Mm. Me voy a poner esto aquí. Voy a poner esto aquí en la basura, en la caneca. Mm. Ahora vamos a seguir caminando. No, tengo que abrir. Ujú. Mm. Mm. This is mm. Oh shit. No, no. Let's see. You gotta hurry, plug it in. Mhm. Mm. You gotta hurry, hurry, hurry. Close this. Mm. Oh. Oh. Okay. I almost got it. Okay. I'm trying to plug my phone in before it shuts down. Okay, I had 2%. this will this will charge it up to maybe 20% in a half an hour, maybe. It's not a fast charger. Mm. Oh shit! Oh wow! I'm back. I'm back. I recovered my Zoom meeting. My phone shut down, so I switched to my other phone. This is a Motorola. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you can hear me. Hmm. Oh, you have a new friend. That's Facebook. Anyway, so now I can put my phone in my pocket, maybe. In here, maybe. No, down here. Hmm. Yeah, there we go. And get the point. Let's see. On. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I can't seem to get. Yes. The oh, maybe this one shut down. Right. Hmm.
Oh, and I got 100% battery on it. Let's see if it's working. Let's open up Facebook. Facebook. Wow. 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 That's right. That's right. I can tell. I'm an option. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Let's see if I can video. Anyway, anyway, oh, anyway, you should hear, right? Sounds good, right? I'm guessing it does. Anyway, let's see if I can, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to share screen. I'm gonna see let's see, share screen, share screen. If I can, go to, yeah, go to, I don't think that was the thing, but I got this one. Let's go to, archive.org. Geeta. What is that? Whoa, look at that. Yeah, it hasn't loaded yet. It's got 400 pages. Hmm. How's the bug of I do this? I selected Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's go over the introductory essay, which is, I don't know, 80 pages or so long. It is very good. So, the importance of the work. So, why is the Bhagavad Gita so important? Let's find out. So the Bhagavad Gita is more a religious classic than a philosophical treatise. So it is not an esoteric work designed for and understood by the specially initiated, but a popular poem which helps even those who wander, WAND, not one wonder, how wonderful, it's wander. It's hard to distinguish. Wander, wonder. Wow. To wonder, well, there's not much separation between, you can improve my English pronunciation. To wander in the region of the many and variable. What's that mean? To wander in the region of the many and variable. What does that mean? Even those. So this book, this work, is not esoteric, designed for like yogis that are initiated, but a popular poem which helps even those who wander in the region of the many and variable. Many and oh, maybe that's me. I'm wandering in the region of the many and variable. Maybe that's something a poet wrote. It gives utterance to the aspirations of the pilgrims of all the sects, of all sects, instead of all the sects, all sects. Maybe all sects is more inclusive than all the sects. To seek to tread the inner way to the city of God. We touch reality most deeply, where man struggle, fail, and triumph. Wow. I'm trying to adjust myself here. Hold on. Wait a minute. Gotta keep it like this. So, so I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't have a space between Bhagavad and Gita. It doesn't have the Sanskrit, what is it, diacritical mark or special accent, like a overlined A or overlined I. It probably should, but maybe because it's become so well known what this work is that he got away without marking them in the international standard or something, IAS or something. But the author is Brother Krishnan S. And I've heard that he was in his life India's vice president or something like that. Maybe the first vice president of India. Anyway, this book was written in 1918, way before India became independent. That was during the First World War, wasn't it? maybe I should go review it. Reading it all. Pretty lengthy, the introduction. It's got some really good things in it. Yeah, I've read maybe 10 or 15 pages of it. So, so it starts off with what I just read. See where it goes. So, so it gives utterance to the aspirations of the pilgrims of all sects who seek to tread the inner way to the city of God. The city of God. Where is that? Yeah, it's like a mandala. Well, there's Buddhas. They have their mandalas, their pure lands. There's a, and they're like cities of different Buddhists. There's a city for, for God, for God Krishna. Maybe Krishna is a Buddha, and maybe it has a pure land and a mandala. And you could call that mandala a city of God, city of Krishna, because Krishna is one of the main characters in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is is not in the middle, not in the very beginning. Maybe it's around 10% through, maybe 15% through the Mahabharata. Well, they say that the Mahabharata I've read is got 18 sections. I'm afraid to call it chapters, but it's 18. They divided it up into 18 sections, and the Bhagavad Gita is section 6. So 18. What's the ratio of 6 to 18? Let's see. I'm gonna say, wow. Yeah. Way through? Less than halfway through. Hmm. Maybe it's around 30% through. I was thinking 10%. Maybe it's more like 30%. Mm-hmm. But who knows how long each section is? So it's just a rough estimate. Very rough. Hmm. Gemini AI, if we could calculate what percentage of the Mahabharata, if I had a book on the Mahabharata, the complete work, the complete Mahabharata, it's pretty huge. Probably bigger than the Bible. They say it's one of the biggest epic poems. I think it's got 100,000 verses. Mm, and the Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. Well, you can see 700 to 100,000. No, less than 1%. So the Bhagavad Gita is nothing compared to the Mahabharata in size. Mm, my dog, it's always one doing that when there's a dog nearby. No, 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 no. Okay, so wow, but that less than 1%, a tenth of a percent, isn't it? Hmm. Less than a tenth of a percent of the Mahabharata. What what is going on with the Mahabharata? All kinds of stories. Kind of like the Iliad and the Odyssey, but maybe more fantastic, even more. What's the comparison? Well, there's a lot of sub stories in the Mahabharata, and the Ramayana is even more fantastic. Maybe I don't know. But hmm, let's read them. Maybe the summary of each one. I've seen the portions of the movie, and I've got the Mahabharata in audio, so it's got lots of characters and things going on that to keep track of. But those characters appear in the Mahabharata briefly at the beginning, or they're mentioned maybe. But then it goes on with the main characters by themselves. And Gita is just Arjuna and Krishna by themselves. The middle of the battlefield. It hasn't started. The battle hasn't started, and they're like frozen in time. I don't know how long they talk. It's like an hour it would take. Then maybe it took them 5 minutes to go through it all. Fast food conversation. No, you could call it a fat time. Hmm. Okay, so it's a back and forth question and answer. And and looks like Krishna appreciates the question and answers quite well. Maybe sometimes he leads him on, ask more questions. I mean, I'm going through chapter 8, maybe back to 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I'm in a study guide kind of class. Lessons given out. Haven't been keeping up. When I'm trying to go back to previous lessons and then come to a conclusion. Well, come to some opinion about it. Oh, an impression, maybe. I'm trying to give you an impression about what's happened so far. Hmm. Hmm. So it gives utterance to the aspirations of the pilgrims of all sects who seek to tread the inner way to the city of God. We touch reality most deeply where man struggles, fail, and triumph. Millions of Hindus for centuries have found comfort in this great book, which sets forth in precise and penetrating words the essential principles of a spiritual religion which are not contingent on ill-founded facts and unscientific dogmas or arbitrary fancies. With a long history of spiritual power. It serves even today as a light to all who will receive illumination on the profundity of its wisdom, which insists on a world wider and deeper than wars and revolutions can touch. It is a powerful shaping factor in the renewal of spiritual life and has secured an assured place among the world's great scriptures. The teaching of the Gita is not presented as a metaphysical system, thought out by an individual thinker or school of thinkers. It is set forth as a tradition which has emerged from the religious life of mankind. That sounds very perennial philosophy or theosophical. It is articulated by a profound seer. Hmm. He's talking about the author of the book, who sees truth in its many-sidedness and believes in its saving power. It represents not any sect of Hinduism, but Hinduism as a whole, not merely Hinduism, but religion as such, in its universality without limit of time or space, embracing within its synthesis the whole gamut of the human spirit, from the crude fetishism of the savage to the creative affirmations of the saint. The suggestions set forth in the Gita that the meaning and value of existence, the sense of eternal values, and the way in which the ultimate intuition provide the basis for agreement in mind and spirit. So very essential for keeping together the world which has become materially one by the universal acceptance of the eternals of civilization. See, let's go back to the footnote. There's a long footnote here. He even goes on to the next page. Maybe. This footnote is actually very good also. So, let me give background information. A little bit technical. So here we go. It refers to footnote one, which is millions of Hindus. So what are Hindus? The Gita has exercised an influence that extended in early times to China and Japan, and latterly to the land of the West. The two chief works of Mahayana Buddhism, Mahayana Sadhotpati, the awakening of faith in the Mahayana, and Sadharma Pundarika, the lotus of the true law, the lotus of the Dharma, are deeply indebted to the teaching of the Gita. Wow, is it true? It is interesting to observe that the official exponent of the German faith, C.W. Howard, a Sanskrit scholar, served for some years as a missionary in India, gives to the Gita a central place in the German faith. He calls it a work of imperishable significance. He declares that the book gives us not only profound insights that are valid for all times and for all religious life, but it also but it contains as well the classical presentation of one of the most significant phases of Indo-Germanic religious history. Interesting, Indo-Germanic. So you have to realize that this was sometime before Hitler came in the scene. But by this time, yes, there were translations of the Bhagavad Gita to English and to German. So the Germans were fascinated by Sanskrit, the language of the Bhagavad Gita. And Sanskritologists began to point out that there is a root language and people, perhaps, from which arose Sanskrit and this work. So the Germans felt that it had to be called Indo-Germanic. That the German people, the Aryan people, invaded India and established the civilization and produced the literature, the culture, the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. So they like to think of themselves as Indo-Germanic. So there's an Indo-Germanic history. So the theory was there is a Aryan migration. The Germans would like to think that, yes, it came from Germany, basically the German people. Yes, of course. Perhaps yeah, you could say they might have lived in the Ukraine, not too far from Germany. And they said, let's go forth and take over India. So they invaded India. That's a long distance, isn't it? And they fought the savage Indians, how to think through the language Sanskrit. And so, and this is J.W. Howard, a Sanskrit scholar. He served for some years as a missionary in India. Gives to the Gita a central place in the German faith. The German faith? Is there such a thing as a German faith? He calls it a work of imperishable significance. He declares that the book gives not only profound insights that are valid for all times and for all religions, but it contains as well a classical presentation of one of the most significant phases of the Indo-Germanic religious history. What is this? Indo-Germanic religious history? It shows us the way as regards the essential nature and basal characteristic of Indo-Germanic religion. Here, spirit is at work. It belongs to our spirit. That ends the quote. Let me read it again. What does W. Hauer, Hauer, say? The Sanskrit scholar? Mm-hmm. See where it starts. So J.W. Howard calls the Bhagavad Gita a work of imperishable significance. It gives us not only profound insights that are valid for all times and for all religious life, but it contains as well the classical presentation of one of the most significant phases of Indo-Germanic religious history. It shows us the way as regards the essential nature and basal characteristic of Indo-Germanic religion. Here, spirit is at work that belongs to our spirit. Quote closed. So this was the words of J.W. Howard, who was a missionary in India and became a Sanskrit scholar. So he must have studied the Gita and other things Indian, and he must have been fond of his. I guess he thinks he must be German, and he at that time thought of Germany having a faith A German faith. I don't know what that could be. And in what was quoted, well, he's referring to the Gita, the book. He he mentions uh, the word spirit uh, towards the end of the of what I quoted. He says, well, after what he says, it can the Gita contains the classical presentation of one of the most significant phases of Indo hyphen Germanic religious history. Dot 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 dot. It shows us the way as regards the essential nature and basic characteristics of Indo hyphen Germanic religion. Period. He goes on to say, here, spirit is capitalized. That's capital S. And he probably said all this in German, so Germans are fond of capitalizing nouns. So that maybe it's important to note that he's referring to spirit as in the universal self, maybe. Here, spirit is at work that belongs to our spirit. So this spirit belongs to our spirit. The second spirit is not capitalized. Our spirit is not capitalized. Your spirit, capitalized, is at work that belongs to our spirit, not capitalized. So let's think about this. So J.W. Hauer, Auer, Sanskrit scholar. Let's think about what he said. What is he trying to say? Well, he he states, he goes on to state the central message of the Gita in these words. We are not called to solve the meaning of life, to find out the deed demanded of us, and to work, and so by action to master the riddle of life. Hmm. Close. Let me repeat that. He said, we are not called to solve the meaning of life, but to find out the deed. That's what the capital D, deed, demanded of us, and to work. And so by action to master the riddle of life. So let me interpret that in another way or paraphrase that. Well, I know deed with a capital D. I suspect deed, the deed demanded of us. That could mean calling. That could mean a purpose in life. That could mean our dharma, our duty. It's the deed demanded of us. Our duty demands of us. Our duty demands much of us. But deed is an action, so it could be referring to karma. Maybe it's like it's the type of karma or action that you vow to take henceforth. Like if you're in a religious sect and you bow down to the guru of the sect, then you would have a deed or a duty, a deed demanded of one. And well, so the Gita is not designed to solve the meaning of life, right? But to find out our deed demanded of us, and to work it out. And so by working it out by action, by karma yoga, we will master the riddle of life. The riddle of life. So I would paraphrase it. Well, what he said, we are not called to solve the meaning of life, but to find out the deed demanded of us and to work and so by action to master the riddle of life. So taking close, Mr. Grant, that was quoted as being the central message of the Gita, that was quoted in the Hibbert Journal, April 1940, page 341. Maybe that was an article that he wrote in 1940. I got a poem. It was written in 1940. How come this book says 1918 publication? We have a problem here. Maybe the introduction was inserted in the second edition, or the third or fourth. And maybe it was published as simply the, the translation and commentary by Radhakrishnan in 1918. But then later on, maybe after 1940, he yeah, it says April 1940. I was checking to see if I misread it and it was 1840. No, it's 1940. And yet, let's look at the beginning pages of this. It's a PDF. It's like a scan of the book. So maybe we could find when it was actually published. Well, let me turn it this way. Let me shrink it down so I can find it quicker. Preface, first published in 1918, but where's the second edition information? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. I can't find when when it was republished. It says first published in 1918. Mm-hmm. This is true. So the footnote mentions a date of 1940. So oh, here it is. Preface to the second edition. It is a pleasure to know that a second edition is called for, and that has enabled me to correct many misprints and profit by the suggestions made by my friend, Professor F.W. Thomas, to whom I am greatly indebted. Mm-hmm. But that's mm-hmm. Trying to find out a date, but it doesn't say when the second edition was published. And there's another, I think I saw another date that was 1925 somewhere. I mentioned the war. Well, this is the preface. War and post-war period tend to bring into prominence the value of science, especially their practical application. Period. That's how the preface starts. So it mentions war and post-war period. So this is after the First World War, I suppose. Then, let's read this second paragraph. Skip over to the second paragraph. There are many editions of the Bhagavad Gita and several good English translations of it, and there would be no justification for another. If all that was needed for English readers was a bare translation. Those who read the Gita in English need notes at least as much as those who read it in Sanskrit, if they are not to miss their way in it. The classical commentaries indicate to us what the Gita meant to the commentators and to their contemporaries. Every scripture has two sides, one temporary and one perishable, belonging to the idea of the people of the period and the country in which it is produced, and the other eternal and imperishable and applicable to all ages and countries. The intellectual expression, the psychological idiom are the product of time, while the permanent truths are capable of being lived and seen by a higher than intellectual vision at all times. The validity of a classic consists in its power to produce from time to time men who confirm and correct from their own experience truths that enunciated in it. Commentators speak to us from experience and express in a new form, a form relevant to their age and responsive to its needs. Ancient wisdom of the scriptures. Our great doctrine, as it is repeated in the course of centuries, is colored by the reflections of the age in which it appears and bears the imprint of the individual who restates it. Our times are different, our habits of thought, the mental background to which we relate our experience are not quite the same as those of the classical commentators. The chief problem facing us today is the reconciliation of mankind. The Gita is specially suited for this attempt to reconcile varied and apparently antithetical forms of the religious consciousness and emphasizes the root conceptions of religion, which are neither ancient nor modern, but eternal and belong to the very flesh of humanity, past, present, and future. History poses our problems, and if we restate all principles in new ways, it is not because we will do so, but because we must. Period. Such a restatement of truth, of eternity in the accents of our time, is the only way in which a great scripture can of be of living value to mankind. From this point of view, the general introduction and the notes may perhaps be found useful by the intelligent reader. There are many points in the detailed interpretations of the Gita where there are differences among scholars. I have not done more than call attention to them in the notes, as the book is intended for the general reader who wishes to enlarge his spiritual environment rather than for the specialist. Mhm. Let's see. Somebody's knocking at the door. Mhm. Okay. Let's see. I think it's Tony. Hello. 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 Oh, he's back. Oh, he's back. Hello. Vedic astrologer Abhishek Shukla.
Hello, dear. How are you?
Hello. Abhishek Shukla.
Hello. My exam was going good.
Abhishek Shukla took an exam. What was the exam about?
Application of soft computing.
Application of soft computing. Oh, wow. I like soft computing. I am Hydrosoft.
I will score more than 55 marks out of 70.
Wow. Oh, wow. 55 out of 70. Wow. And did you study what? Marks were incorrect. Maybe you can learn from that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Or do the
I after 1 month our result will be out. Then I will find out how much marks I got.
They will show you the questions missed and the answers.
No, they only show the marks.
You only show the score.
Yeah,
Is it is the test multiple choice or you have to write something
theory, question and answer.
and you answer by writing?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
there are 5 units. First unit is neural networks. Second unit is network part 2. Then third unit is fuzzy logic part 1. Then fourth unit is fuzzy logic part 2. Then fifth unit is genetic algorithm.
Oh, wow. I wish to study that. What is a fuzzy logic?
Fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic is based on fuzzy set. Fuzzy set are the set which are partially belong to the set of all the elements which are partially belong to the fuzzy set. It means every value has its own membership value. Membership value defines about the element, how much percent it belongs to their set. Like if the membership value is lies between 0 to 1. 0 means if the membership value is closer to 0, it means it is not belonging from the fuzzy set. And if membership value is closer to 1, then it will tell the element is belonging to the set. It means the value between 0 to 1 defines how much percent the element belonging to the set.
Wow. Is 50% the cutoff point? And if you
Yeah,
get 49%, then you don't belong? If you get 50, maybe, maybe not. And 51, you do belong?
Haro, yesterday I told you that soft computing is about the approximation. In hard computing, in the crisp set. Hard computing there are crisp set. In soft computing there are fuzzy set. Crisp set means the element will belong or not belong. There is not no any option of partially belonging. It means if the element is belonging, then their value will be 1. If not belonging, then their value will be 0. There is no any option between 0 to 1. But in fuzzy set, there are options like 0.1, 0.2, how much percent it belongs, depending on that.
Oh no, it will be too complicated.
Yeah, but it's very easy subject for me in this semester, and I will
Wow,
score well in that.
wow.
I will score more than 50. That's will be good for me. Now my next exam is about web technology on 6th January.
Oh no, that is very complicated.
No, web tech I am master of web designing. So it's very easy for me.
No, but what about web development? Doesn't that require programming?
Yeah, it require HTML, CSS, JavaScript programming, and Java server page, servlet interface, and about Ajax technology,
Too much. How can you
and
master all that?
Node.js, MongoDB. There are lots of topic in web technology which I have to study, and we have 3 days for preparation.
Oh
Three,
no,
four, five. Three, four, five.
no, I need 3 years.
What?
How can you prepare in 3 days? I need 3 years.
Oh no, too much. We have only 3 days.
No, too short, too little. It's not fair.
What?
Mm. How can you study all that in 3 days? You have notes. You study the notes. Mm. Wow. How? 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 Naya, how? 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 Wow. Too much. Hmm. Okay. So that was my friend Abhishek Shukla. He studied for the exam on uh, programming, soft, soft computing, like fuzzy logic. Now he must study for software, no, for web design and development. It's too much. How can I learn all that in 3 days? It's too much. Ajax, no, Node, JS, JavaScript, server pages, this and that. Too much. Too much. We'll go back. I will share the screen and go back. Studying. Let's see. Begin. Share entire screen. Now you go, poor dog. I'm going slow, and dog wants to go fast. Let's see. So I was reading the preface to see if I could find anything like a date. I thought I saw 1925 around here somewhere. Let's see. Going forward, preface to the second edition. No date. This is abbreviation. Content. Bhagavad Gita. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Oh yeah, okay. 1925. So the Bhagavad Gita. This is who wrote that. Maybe that is like an introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, or that declares what the Bhagavad Gita is. Perhaps that is introductory. What is it? Preamble? No. Declaration? So what is the Bhagavad Gita? Taught. It was taught by the blessed Narayana himself to Arjuna. Oh, so this goes right to the plot, to the theme, storyline. So the content was taught by the blessed Narayana himself. Himself with a capital S. So that's referring to Krishna. Narayana, what does that mean? I have to look it up. To Arjuna. So that's one of the main characters. Arjuna is just that's no, just a soldier. Just a soldier, a general. You can say he's a general in the army. And he's considered the good guy. Well, he has a grievance. It's like a battle between two parties that go to court. They're in court, and Arjuna has and his team has grievances. Grievances against the other party, consisting of his cousin, who unlawfully took control of the house and kicked them out. I guess they were cousins. They're supposed to live together in one house. Well, one country, you could say. One region of India. Maybe, who knows? Maybe 6,000 years ago? 7,000? 8,000? Who knows? And they're at the battlefield, and there's supposed to be a historical, archaeological location for that. It's near New Delhi. New Delhi in India. Kurukshetra? Kurukshetra? The battlefield. The battlefield. The field of battle. Kurukshetra. So, Narayana, Krishna, teaches Arjuna. And what is taught is compiled by Vyasa, the ancient seer. That is like a psychic. Vyasa. In the middle of the Mahabharata. An epic. 100,000 verses. Much larger than the works, the Greek works of by Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Is it comparable to them? No. There's a lot of things going on in them, but the Gita is like a chapter 6 out of 18 chapters or sections in the Mahabharata. So the Gita itself has 18 chapters. Total of 700 verses. while the Mahabharata has 100,000 verses or so, making the Gita only 0.07% in size. Okay. If you assume all the verses are the same length. Okay, so did I have poop? I don't see any poop. Sometimes he scratches the floor, the grass after pooping. But I don't see any poop. Paying attention to, I'm not paying attention to Naya. And she's probably suffering. Wants to move along. Sometimes Naya likes to bark at dogs looking out the windows of this neighborhood, or dogs barking at her. She likes to bark back. So I pull on him. Anyway, so let's go back to what this remark is. So this is the taught by the blessed Narayana himself to Arjuna. So Krishna teaching Arjuna, and it was compiled by Vyasa, the ancient seer. In the middle of the Mahabharata, maybe it's more like 30% of it has gone through. He compares chapter 6 of the Mahabharata to the last chapter of the Mahabharata, assuming all chapters are equal in size, chapter 18. But, oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, taught by the blessed Narayana himself. So Vyasa is the ancient seer who could see what's happening and wrote it all down in a nice poetic form. Mahabharata, whew, that's huge work. Well, they had plenty of time back then, I suppose. And he wrote it down in a way that was easy to memorize. And so people have been memorizing it for centuries. Like it is quite an accomplishment. So let's see. So the Bhagavad Gita, even though it says chapter 6 of 18 chapters, it could be that the first few chapters are lengthier than usual, and the last few chapters are shorter than usual, making the Bhagavad Gita occur in the middle of the work, the Mahabharata. You know, I have to ask Gemini AI at what percentage of the Mahabharata does the Bhagavad Gita occur? Maybe give me the number of verses in each chapter of the Mahabharata. Give me what's the typical size of each verse. Like how many Sanskrit characters does each verse have? Approximately. Or maybe you could take a sample here and there. Could that be done? That's any question. Anyway, that's not important. Too important. So, and meditate on thee, O Mother, O Bhagavad Gita, the blessed of 18 chapters, the bestower of the nectar of non-dualistic wisdom, the destroyer of rebirth. Wow, the destroyer of rebirth. The destroyer of rebirth. Hola, y sí, bien, ya regreso.
Mi amor.
¿Quién tú?
sí, pero pues ya no puedes saltar. Ya no puedes saltar.
Uy,
Qué
necia.
bella, qué bella. Ready? Sit. Good girl. Give me your hand.
Wow.
Wow. Ella es muy linda, obediente. Ella es obediente.
Wow. Se entrenaron bien.
Ay, qué belleza. Yo voy a caminar por 1 hora y media también.
Wow, qué bueno.
Como tú, qué chévere que caminas tanto, qué chévere que caminas
Ay,
tanto.
estoy leyendo un libro mientras camino. Y la Nayan jalándome. Vaya más rápido. Uy, no. Sí, es antiguo. 1900, bueno,
Wow.
está publicado 1928, no, 18, primeramente, de la edición segunda,
¿Te
no sé.
encanta leer, Jairo? ¿Te gusta leer?
Sí, este libro es un clásico
¿Cómo se llama?
de las religiones
De las religiones mundiales.
mundiales, sí, pero es situado en la India y habla de Dios encarnado como Krishna, enseñándole a su discípulo Arjuna sobre cómo hacer sus deberes y actuar y, y así contestar los misterios de la vida.
Qué lindo, qué lindo, Jairo. Chévere que estás viendo el libro.
No, se escribió, no sé, no saben cuándo se escribió, se puso a memorizar, pero pudo haber ocurrido miles de años antes de Cristo, pero se empezó a poner en poema.
Sí.
Y es largo, pero está bajo una épica de guerra que es más grande que la de Homero, de Odiseo y Eliade.
Wow.
Es mucho más grande. Bueno, esta partecita de donde enseña es más pequeña, solamente 700 versos, pero está dentro de una épica de 100.000 versos. Uy, qué
Excelente.
maravilla.
Tan bella.
Entonces estoy rascando el libro solamente. Es muy profundo y me demoraré otros 20 años para entenderlo.
Años, entonces, para leerlo todo.
Sí,
Bueno, yo les debo ir, voy a caminar 1 hora y media y regreso para almorzar con mi hermana. Y me imagino que tú vas a
wow. Oh, debería prepararme arroz otra vez.
que tú comes arroz todos los días.
Voy a hacer arroz para el desayuno cada día.
Qué rico. Bueno,
Pero tengo frijoles negros, después puedo comer con frijoles negros. Después voy a hacer un brunch.
nos vemos dentro de una
Wow,
hora.
se van a encontrar con la familia
Ah,
hoy.
no, mi hermana tiene que trabajar hoy hasta las 5:30 y
Wow,
después de eso tenemos que hacer unas vueltas a comprar algo en el mercado y
wow,
después tenemos que llevar el carro que Steffi tiene, que es prestado de mi papá,
wow,
a, bueno, padrastro, no mi papá, mi padrastro, y nos quedamos con el carro mío, el carro que tengo alquilado.
wow.
Pues chicas, nada más. Bueno, qué pasaje, ustedes caminaron bastante. Está linda.
Hizo pupi, pero la bolsa se la dejé en la basura.
Ay, qué bien que hizo Pupi, qué bien. Bueno, bueno, nos vemos después, entonces. Mamita, ella debería extrañar mucho a la mamita.
A la manita Silvia, sí,
Debería
pero
extrañar.
al papito Nicolás, el hijo de Silvia.
Al papá de
El,
Nicolás.
el papá es el Nicolás es el dueño de ella y él vive en Washington, D.C., pero hace mucho frío allá. Entonces la deja aquí.
Ah, la deja por eso.
Sí.
Algo así.
abuela de Naya. Muy bien. Okay. Bueno, pues entonces nos vemos ahorita, dentro de una hora y media. Voy a ir a caminar. ¿Qué le bueno, parece? Entonces voy a entrar y a tratar de no hacer ruido. Ay. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Okay. How do I get this? Okay. Oh, it's interesting that I'm not sure who wrote this in this little portion. It's only 3 paragraphs, maybe, where it says taught by the blessed Narayana himself to Arjuna. I guess that's like an introduction. What is a very brief introduction of this is about? What is the Bhagavad Gita about? It was taught. Maybe it's used at the beginning of all Gita. What is it? It was taught by the blessed Narayana himself to Arjuna, compiled the Vyasa you can see it in the middle of the Mahabharata. And then there's like a prayer or like a, what is it called? Uh, uh, eulogy? No, I don't know what you call it. It's like uh, honorific? No, honoring or acknowledgement. Well, he says, "Oh, I meditate on thee, oh mother, oh Bhagavad Gita." So it's treating the Gita as a mother, the blessed of 18 chapters, the bestower of the nectar of non-dualistic wisdom, the destroyer of rebirth. So this famous Gita Shastra, that's another way of thinking about it. It's like a Shastra. It's not a smriti, it's an epitome of the essentials of the whole Vedic teaching. Wow, if I absorb this book and get the hang of it, I will have the essentials of the whole Vedic teaching. The knowledge of its teaching leads to the realization of all human aspirations. Wow, you got a footnote. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Is this like SBG introduction? Who is SBG? Maybe that's the introduction to the Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita introduction. So this is like saying how awesome this is, and maybe a prayer to say before reading it every time. Like a declaration of the declaration, the statement of declaration, the declaration, constitution, no, declaration of intent. Maybe it's a motivation. So, famous Gita Shastra is an epitome of the essentials of the whole Vedic teaching. The knowledge of its teaching leads to the realization of all human aspirations. And then there's a footnote to that. And it says, oh, so it's got, oh boy. This requires me stretching it out. Samasta Vedartha Samgraha Uttam. Samasta Puru Sarta Siddhim. Before that, footnote 2, Pasaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayana Vayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Nadir Mahabharatam Advaitam Riktavaitim Bhagavatim Asadasyayim Amba Swam Anusanda Sandagam Bhagavad Gita Bhavarasini. So all that is what was given in. Mhm. All that was that, where it says taught by the blessed Narayana himself to Arjuna, and compiled by Vyasa, the ancient seer, in the middle of the Mahabharata. I meditate on thee, O Mother Bhagavad Gita, the blessed of 18 chapters, the bestower, the nectar of non-dualistic wisdom, the destroyer of rebirth. Again, the next paragraph, this famous Gita Sutta is an epitome of the essentials of the whole Vedic teaching. Knowledge of its teaching leads to the realization of all human aspirations. And then it says, I find solace. You could say this, this is like I take refuge. I find a solace in the Bhagavad Gita that word that I miss even in the Sermon on the Mount. When disappointment stares me in the face and all alone I see not one ray of light, and go back to Bhagavad Gita. I find a verse here and a verse there, and immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming tragedy. And my life has been full of external tragedies, and if they have left no visible, no indelible scar on me, I owe it to all the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in Sri Gandhi, Young India, 1925, pages 1078 to 1079. Well, where's that book? Young India. That was 1925. He was pretty young himself, I guess. So he had studied the Sermon on the Mount. He found more solace in the Bhagavad Gita. Well, I'm going to call it quit for this. But I'm glad I opened to that one. And then they find the introduction there. Probably 80 pages. 78, if I recall. So I will go back to Zoom. Go here. I will stop sharing. And I see that there's no one showing me, so I will end it. Thank you very much for your time and attention. And namaste, Omaha, and so forth. I'm going home, and I'm very, very, very behind. And Lord, I can recognize him. That may all be happy.